Hello and welcome back. So we have padded out our piece to the full length and we have our two solos to fill. So we're going to fill in the first solo today and we're going to fill in kind of this area here with our solo number one for the saxophone. So let's have a think of what we can do for this one. So I'm going to first off just pad it out so we've got 4 bars per line. There we go, and then zoom in a bit as well, just so we can see. Last but not least. There we go. So we got to fill out this area. So let's start with our solo. And a good way to start the solo isn't start here on beat 1. It's to lead into it from the head. The saxophone stopped here. It's ready. And we can kind of have a little upbeat into our solo. So we'll start there. Let's say we want to start on the bar kind of here. So how can we lead into that? We'll probably lead from below, kind of lead up to that C. We know that we want to be using our blue scale. So let's break up this bar quickly. And then on this last beat, we'll go up the blue scale. So note before would be B flat. And we'll go up. There we go. Now let's add in some syncopation. So we're just going to play around with our blue scale for a bit. So add in some syncopation, maybe go over the bar line. Yeah, let's go up a bit. So we'll go, still using our quaver notes. We'll go up to G, and then we'll go down again. Hold that for a bit. Let's just have a listen so far. And we'll play from the end of the first bar, or the end of the head, just so we can hear how that leads in. Ooh. Let's tie that as well. Da 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 da. Da da. Maybe further down a bit. Yeah, let's go back down to the G. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. Actually, let's plan ahead. And plus, I've kind of got a bit too much. There we go. Let's plan ahead. When we arrive here, I want to land on the F. That's just a bit of a challenge, but it's a target, and that's good. And when we're here, because we're soloing, we're not going to have a call and response. We don't want to have 2 bars on, then 2 bars off, because that's just going to be empty space. And we wanted that because we were going to fill it. We're not going to do that on this solo. We want to fill this one. So let's E flat. Let's go up. Let's kind of have that leading note. Ooh. Now, I probably actually might change the saxophone later on, so I'm going to keep it like that for now. I haven't decided if I want this on soprano, so I'm just going to write the melody I want, and then decide how I'm going to change it based on instrumentation. So these 2 notes are kind of out of the saxophone range. These are in what's known as the altissimo register, which if you're a saxophonist looking at that going, oh, that looks quite high. Then again, that is a G, and I'm fairly sure you can only go high as F sharp. So that one might be slightly wrong. So we'll have a look at kind of the proper voicing for that later, or the proper fingering if that's possible. But for now, I'm just going to write the melody I want, and then I might change saxophone. This might end up on the soprano. So let's just keep writing something. Let's drop down at the very least. We've had quite a few quavers in a row, so we'll have a... Where are we? Let's shrink this down as well. Just get it all on one bar. Ooh. All on one page. There we go. Now let's think of the end. So I ended on the note F on the started on the note F on the next bar. So I think it would be good to go down, kind of chromatically have that blue note, the G, G flat or F sharp, leading into the F, which leads us really nicely into that kind of chord change. That is what we want. So we just need to bring it down and up. I'm imagining kind of a bit of a contour here. So we'll do that real quick. So next lowest note would be G. And we'll do this mostly with quavers, maybe a syncopation over the bar line. It keeps on changing where we are on the page. We'll tie this bit over. Or should I go C? Or I'll jump up a bit. Da 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 da. A bit of an enclosure there. Let's drag that back. Okay, so I like this kind of high that it reaches here, and then it leads into this one. So I'm going to play it from the end of the head. Let's have a listen to the kind of the lead in with this upbeat, the kind of the contour of the melody, and how it leads into this F here. I like that. I like that lead in. I just want to see, maybe I was right to have that as B flat. I guess both work. I'll keep it as B flat. Why not? Doesn't matter too much. It's all within the scale. So let's have a go at writing a melody for this next section. Now I've kept it quite, there's a lot of movement here. It's a lot of quavers, the occasional crotchet or the tied quaver. So let's add in a bit less motion here. So we'll start it up here. So this is our F chord. And we want to go crotchet. So we'll, but not all the time. So we'll have like 1 or 2 quavers per bar. And just kind of pick notes from the scale. Let's add in a bit of syncopation. Yeah, I'm thinking, just thinking ahead. I want to hit the C here, so kind of that rhythm, so I'm going to lead up to that. You know, let's keep it really simple. How sharp do I want that? Let's shrink it all back onto one page. Let's have a listen with the lead in. Yeah, it needs to pick up the motion again now. So we'll go back to Quavers. I'm happy with this so far. So we ended up on the C, so we'll start there. We'll just go down and then B flat. I want to set another target as well. Here's the G chord, just like we did with the F. I think it would be a good idea to hit a chord tone there. So let's have a go at... Oh, I've got an idea. We'll just go G. Just add in the syncopation. Lots of syncopation is key. And then, we could... I'm going to have to change this again. I've got an idea. We could kind of have a bit of a trill on this kind of blue note leading up into the G. That would work. So let's shrink that down again. And let's have a listen. Yeah, I like that. So what can we do for this G? I think I like this pattern. So let's have that here. On the G. And then let's have it here on the F for the chord change. But let's jump up to the C there. And because we went up here, we'll go down here. So. And that's great because that outlines the dominant function of that, even though it doesn't resolve like a dominant chord. I think this needs a little change. Oh, perfect. You know what? Because we're going to the F, we'll have the G here because that's the chord we're in. And we could lead into this G chord, this F, using a G flat. Ba-da-da. Yeah, it's really simple. Just above, below, and then let's just hold that C. Great, and I'll shrink that down again. Not too much. There we go. So and that's where the trombone solo would start. So let's have a listen to this solo in its entirety. I'll go from the end of the melody head. I'm quite happy with that. That's not too bad a solo. Maybe... where was I? Yeah, maybe that might work better. Da, 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 da. Then you have a run upwards. Yeah, that would work better. So you drop down, then you run upwards. Just as one quick change. Just leading to that. And I'm leaving this last bar blank because just like the saxophone solo started a bit early, it'll probably overlap slightly, so we'll have an upbeat on the trombone. But I think that's good for a solo. Obviously, one thing we're going to have to go through later is kind of add in all the phrases and maybe any articulations, but we'll come to that when we're tidying up the piece in its entirety. So let's just run through a quick couple of tips on how to write a solo. First things first, the palette of notes available. All the notes I've used are the blues scale. I'm fairly sure, checking, yeah, it looks like I haven't gone out of it. So all of these are blues scale notes. So make sure you stick within the palette. If you are targeting a note, so for example, the chord changes are always a good one. So the F here over the F chord, the C over the C chord, and then we have our 5-4-1 here. We go. We're targeting this G, so we lead up into that G. When we're targeting our F, we lead down into it, and then we have this enclosure going into the C. So you can kind of plan out a couple of notes on the chord changes to hit a chord tone of the new chord that you're going into, just to kind of outline definitely where you are. So, in fact, if you want to do that on here, you could start there. How would that sound? Da, 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 da. It has nice, but I like hitting the... Has a nice little edge to it, that one, so I'll keep that one in there. But apart from that, target notes are always a good idea. We could also, just having a look, add in syncopation. So that is a really useful thing you could add into your piece. So if you've got syncopation here, kind of hold over kind of quavers onto crotchets, hold over the middle of the bar, so the quaver tied here. Again and again, I really do seem to like that figure, kind of tying over the bar line. Also, quaver, crotchet quaver is instant syncopation. The syncopation over the bar line again. Almost every bar has kind of that tie over the bar line, so I definitely tend to lean towards that. And then I have one bar with no syncopation, where it kind of calms down. Now, in terms of rhythm, or in terms of melodic direction, kind of have a general flow. Use those target notes and go, okay, I want to hit an F here. How should I lead that when I kind of ended here? Could go down and up. That's what I did. So I have that kind of general melodic contour, and then I'll just use the blues scale notes to fill in that kind of overall contour of the piece. And then for rhythm, this is the really hard bit. So add in the syncopation, but quavers are your friends. So you could write an entire solo using quavers just as a way to get it on paper. So just non-stop quavers, repeated notes going up and down, steps and leaps, and then go through and tie the quavers. So if you had kind of double quavers, tie them over, or turn one of those quavers into a crotchet and add in a tiny bit more space here. For example, here I kind of have a break for 1.5 beats, just to let the piece breathe, and so it's not just a constant stream of notes. Otherwise you end up with kind of bebop sounding music, and I think we want something a bit more in the blues style. So I would recommend kind of take less is more, but do remember you do need to kind of fill up most of the bars with some music. As it's a solo, it's going to be the saxophonist showing off how good they are with the blues scale and improvising. And one final thing, other tip, is to use ideas. So I kind of developed this idea of the ba-da-da, and then I repeated that for the closure. But a good place to steal ideas from is from here. So from your actual melody itself. So for example, we started with the... You could turn that, copy and paste that idea, and come up with a phrase based around that idea of the off quaver, crotchet, and just kind of come up with a piece based on that, and kind of use those ideas and develop them a bit like the sonata form of the classical period. The improvisers of the jazz era would do the same thing. So that is our first solo done, and it's kind of written for saxophone, and when writing for saxophone I tend to kind of stick to scalic and kind of lots of motion. We'll go on to trombone solo next, which is written slightly differently, which is kind of lots of repeated notes I think sound good on the trombone. So just to quickly summarise all those parts I've been rambling on about is keep to your palette, so the blues notes, keep the syncopation, target what notes you want to arrive on, add in space when required, and come up with melodic ideas and then repeat them. So I think that'll do for one solo. We'll write out the next solo next time. Thanks for watching.